Jerome Powell, you're fired. It's a damn shame that I share the name Jerome with Jerome Powell because I don't support what the Federal Reserve does, nor do I support what they've done over the last 5 years. With that said, one of the biggest things that Trump is trying to do right now, and he's kindly asked Jerome Powell to step down and resign because he's so horrible at running the Federal Reserve and what he's done with interest rates and how he's fluctuated interest rates. It's catastrophic to the commercial real estate sector, which controls, it's the biggest investment asset in our country. You know, with power grids being one of the largest real estate investment holdings that's going to parlay real estate in the future, data centers, distribution centers, warehouse, those are big leaders in the real estate sector, and they're all affected by what Jerome Powell is doing right now. Retail, starving. We understand what's happening in retail and what's happened in retail over the last decade. I lived it and watched it firsthand as a Subway franchisee when because I saw it from both sides. As an ownership, leasing to other companies, and as a tenant, leasing from big box stores like General Growth Properties, Simon's Properties, and some of the big real estate retail holding companies and management companies in the United States. And so I've seen it from both sides. And I watched it as a tenant on the Subway side. I've felt it as an owner from an ownership side. And I continue to see this happen, not just 2008, 2009, 2010. What we're going through right now is even worse than what we were going through in 2008 and 2009. Most people don't even recognize it. And so let me explain a little bit about what this will do, not just for you, but for our overall economy. And if you're an investor, pay close attention, because what I'm going to go over in the next 15 to 20 minutes can be life transformational in your future investing career, provided you understand the underwriting that I'm going to go through right now. There's a formula that's utilized in banking, and most people don't understand this formula. Most people that are investing don't even understand what a cap rate is. A cap rate is the amount of return you get when you put an X amount of dollars into an investment, provided you pay cash for that investment. The rate of return on the purchase price and the cash you deploy into that asset, that rate of return is your cap rate on a cash producing asset. It's similar to stocks. If you go invest in like Intel, for sake of example, and you make a 6% return on your investment that year, that is equivalence of what a cap rate is to real estate. And so understanding that is very important. Now, when we look at this from an underwriting perspective, the value of an asset is equivalent to its net income, its net operating income, its NOI, divided by its cap rate, okay? The rate of return that it makes. This is how banks actually underwrite and assess assets. And so why is it so important that interest rates go lower? Most people think and contribute interest rates just to single-family home buyers. Ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. Yes, it does affect single-family home buyers, and it does affect the overall median, upper median, and as well as even the upper class in the single-family home purchase play. But it's not the sector of real estate that's getting hit the hardest right now. The residential real estate market is not getting hit so hard. 7% interest rates are not that high when it comes to interest rates as they relate to single-family homes. But it is high as it relates to commercial real estate and the overall underwriting and value of those assets based on the cash production that those assets bring in. And the reason it's so catastrophic is because it's in the controls of the hands of the Federal Reserve, which is a non-governmental agency. It's a scam, ladies and gentlemen. This video, God willing, won't get removed from YouTube. But I'm going to help you guys better understand why this is an issue, and then I'm going to underwrite why this makes such a big difference for you as an investor and for the end buyer and borrowers of home ownership in the United States. Now, the Federal Reserve was started in 1913. Before 1913, there was no income taxes at all. And when the Federal Reserve was actually put into place, ironically enough, the feds gave the power to the Federal Reserve, which is actually ran and functions off of our central banks. Our central banks being the large bankers, Merrill Lynch, Chase, Citibank. These guys are non-governmental agencies, but yet our central banks run our Federal Reserve. And so in our Constitution, it says that no other non-governmental agency is to ever print money. Nixon decided that the dollar bill was no longer going to be backed by gold, and gold is really our only real currency. And so there's no way to measure money. Money just gets printed, and the more money that gets printed, it devalues our US dollar bill. And so what's happened over the years is that even when you look back, federal income taxes got implemented a year later because these non-federal agencies, the Federal Reserve that's printing money, said, we'll print it for you, but if and only if we get compensated for the printing of your US dollar. And when we go out and we print it, we want a percentage of return. So now that has a volatile amount attached to it. Initially, it was 1%. So guess what federal income taxes were a year later, ironically enough. In 1913, they went in and said, we'll assess a 1% federal income tax to the US American people. That will pay back the money that we have to pay to the Federal Reserve, our central banks, for printing money for us. And we'll just let our people of America pay it for us. And so it was at 1%. Then it's 1.5%, 2%, 2.5%, 3%. You guys know credit cards go all the way up as high as 29%. And I'll tell you that mortgages back in the 70s and 80s and even early 90s were as high as 17%. And so when we look at a 7% interest rate today, it doesn't sound that bad in comparison to where interest rates were in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But that's because the Federal Reserve has all this volatility and flexibility to adjust rates. Why is the cost of our money so expensive, and why is our federal income taxes as high as 40% now? And that's the big question. A lot of it has to do with our Federal Reserve, ladies and gentlemen, and our national debt, which is an exact reflection of interest rates and our Federal Reserve. Now, I'm going to get off of what the Federal Reserve does, and let's get into the actual underwriting, how it affects you, okay? I wanted to explain that to you so that way, as you are looking at this, things say, well, how is that possible? How is this Trump guy able to come, or this Trump guy, our president, able to come in and take and propose a 1% interest rate? We can't afford to. Yeah, we can. And it should be substantially lower. Now, will it get to 1%? I don't know. All I know is that it needs to go sub 5% for sure. And at a sub 5% interest rate will change things immensely for our U.S. economy. And it will strengthen our commercial real estate sector beyond belief. Because right now, we are sitting in the turmoil of fire that's about to blow up in our face with over $2.8 trillion worth of defaulted commercial real estate in all real estate sectors. Yes, the vast majority of that is office, but there's retail, there's multifamily that's getting crushed. Good, strong, honest, hardworking multifamily syndicators and investors are getting crushed right now, where investors are not even getting distributions on their assets. These assets are performing at the exact same rate and better than where they were just 3 years ago, yet compensation isn't there. So imagine going to work every single day and performing better every single day. And in spite of how good you perform as a professional, your income gets cut and you get crushed and buried because of external circumstances beyond your control. Think about it from a logical perspective. Good, honest, hardworking people. Your asset performs, you go out there, you're running, right? You're working, you're working, you're working. You get better tenants, you get better tenants, you get higher rents, you do value add, you make and beautify that property, make it more gorgeous, more livable, better for the end user, and you rent it for a higher rate, but yet the feds control the interest rates, hence controlling the cap rate, hence controlling your real estate, and otherwise telling you that no matter how hard you worked at increasing the value of that asset, beautifying it, and making a better place to live for other people, your asset is only worth half of what it was 3 years ago because of what Jerome Powell is doing and the Federal Reserves are doing, and is coming back and hitting you full circle and crushing you financially. And ladies and gentlemen, it is total bullshit. And it is total corruption. And for those of you guys that don't understand it, continue paying attention, because I'm going to explain it to you right now. Now, when we go in, ladies and gentlemen, we have an asset. And let's say that we go in and we have, based on average rents, we have an asset that is a 10, 12 unit apartment complex. And this 10, 12 unit apartment complex, ironically enough, has the exact same tenants in it that it had 3 years ago. They haven't left. Same tenants. They're paying the same amount of rent and probably even just a little tiny bit more, okay? Same walls, they have the same paint, the same roof, the same carpet, same quality. The quality hasn't went down. Everything is exactly the same. There's only one thing that's changed, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the interest rates and the overall cap rate of that return on investment on that asset. So we go in, if this asset produces, let's call it $250,000 a year in gross revenue. And after you pay all your expenses, let's say you go in, you pay your insurance, your property taxes, your light bulbs, your broken toilets, your lawn that needs to be mowed, the leaves that need to be blown. Let's say that after all expenses, the striping on your parking lots, and after all expenses, that asset brings in $125,000, $130,000 a year in net operating income. Okay, so now we have a net operating income of $130,000. Okay, now we go back to where we were in 2020. 2020, interest rates drop as low as sub 2%. So we come in and let's say we buy this asset at even just a modest 3% interest rate, and we have to pay the debt on that asset. So the asset will trade for as much as we have to pay for the debt, because you can pay a 3% interest rate or a 2.5% interest rate with a 3% return on investment, a 3% cap rate. So if we go in, we have a 3% cap rate, and we divide this out, the overall value of our asset in 2020 is equivalent to, we take $130,000 divided by $4.3 million. Okay, that's our value, 2020. 2025, interest rates are sitting at 7.5%. We were underwriting less than 6 months ago at a 6.5% debt service ratio, meaning that the asset would have to cover a debt service of 6.5%. That was January of 2025. I sat in Las Vegas at the Aria Hotel with my lenders, where I sat and they said, Jerome, we have to underwrite this with an overall debt service ratio on your build at a 6.5% debt coverage ratio on your new assets. We go in July of 2025. I make a phone call this past week and I say, lender, where are you guys going to be underwriting this asset in regards to the debt service ratio? He said 7.5%. And I said, holy shit, 7.5%? I said, 6 months ago, we were underwriting these at 6.5% debt coverage ratio, which is still more than double what we were doing 3 years ago. And I said, bro, we can't get this thing to pencil at 7.5% debt coverage ratio at stabilized value. We will have to shelve the project. He goes, well, Jerome, let's just get the loan moving forward, and we won't lock the rate until we lock it when they come back down. So in lieu of the rates, quote unquote, coming back down at a debt coverage ratio of 6.5%, provided they do that, let's look at it from a perspective. And they're at 7.5 right now, ladies and gentlemen. We take this same amount, guys. The tenants didn't change. We still have this $130,000, okay? In fact, let's even do this. And let's say that we increase the overall rents. Our expenses stayed the same. But let's say that if we had $230,000 in overall revenue, we increased the rents by even 10%. It's a large increase, right? We take $230,000 times 0.10. That adds $23,000 to our bottom line. Expenses stay the same. So now our NOI goes from $130,000 to $153,000. Okay. So not only did the assets stay the same, it increased. The amount of money it makes actually went up. This is our net operating income now. Okay. Now, if we're lucky enough to stabilize that asset at 6.5%, debt service ratio, meaning a 6.5% cap rate, because we have to service the debt, right? You can't go out and have a cap rate lower than the interest rate. Because if you have a cap rate lower than the interest rate, you can't service the debt, meaning you're going to go bankrupt. You're going to get foreclosed on. So 6.5% on the cap rate, okay? So divided by 0.065, $2.35 million value. You, the real estate investor, you out there working your butt off, beautifying a property, doing value add, doing what you're supposed to be doing, taking care of your tenants. You're no slumlord. You're going out there, you're replacing the light bulbs. You're going out there, you're fixing the toilets. You're mowing the lawns. You're beautifying the place. You're putting paint and striping on the parking lots. You're going out there and you increase your overall rents because people love you. You are the landlord of the year. And in spite of you being the landlord of the year and being able to increase rents and people saying, no problem, Mr. Jerome, no problem. I will give you more rent because you have made this property beautified. Mr. Jerome Powell don't give a shit. He don't care. He's telling you that this is contributing to the overall GDP of the United States. Bullshit. 6.5%, guys. Your value of your asset is $2.35 million. What happened here, guys? What happened? How do you go out and refinance a property that was once worth $4.3 million and you've only went out and worked harder, but yet now your asset is worth $2 million less than it was, even after you've done your job and increased rents and made people happy, your value of your asset decreased by $2 million. So let me explain this to you. 2026, Trump gets his way. Jerome Powell gets a boot in the ass, which he should get a boot in the ass. And let's just say that interest rates only come down to sub 5%, 4.75%. Okay. So we go in, let's just take this down to 5%. 5% cap rate on $153,000, not even 1%. Okay. 2026, we take $153,000 divided by 0.05, $3.6 million. We're not there yet. We're getting there, 3.6 million, okay? We're getting there. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. We're moving now, okay? Now, we go in. What if we just drop these back down to 3%? Check this out. We go down and we drop interest rates just down to 3% where they were at in 2020. If you go out and you do your job, you increase your revenue. Now, look at this. We take 153,000 divided by 0.03, 5.1 million. You just got an $800,000 increase in value from 2020 to 2026. Not a bad return on investment under the conditions of what we're facing economically right now. We get it down to 1% and cap rates hit at 2%. We're going to take that 153 times 0.02, $7.6 million valuation on that asset. Okay. Now, does that mean if interest rates drop, that I encourage you guys to go out and start buying stuff at sub 2% cap rates? Hell no. I'll never do it. I'll never underwrite this stuff too low. That's why I build it, so I can stabilize it wherever the hell I want. I refinance to the cap rate I want it at. That way, if I want to refinance and underwrite it at a 5% cap rate, which I feel 5% is perfect. You underwrite that, you sell that, you hold it at a 5% cap rate, I make a 5% return on my money, plus I sit safe in case I ever have to or want to sell it. And if interest rates change post Trump's term and they go back up because in similarities to what's happening right now, then we're still protected and have a layer of protection because we didn't overanalyze and over-leverage the debt on our assets. And so understand, ladies and gentlemen, there's a threshold of reasonability within any sector of professional real estate or business. Utilize it with caution and with care. Like my dad always told me, we grew up riding dirt bikes and motorcycles. And he said, Jerome, that is a machine that has hundreds of horsepower. If you don't respect that machine, it will kill you. Respect the machine. And when you respect the machine will respect you back. This is exactly the same as my dad told me when I was a kid with motorcycles and ATVs. This is a machine, ladies and gentlemen. It's a financial machine. If you treat it with care and you treat it with respect, it will respect you back. Don't abuse what's otherwise been abused by the Feds and Federal Reserve and other investors. Function on logic, function on safety. Be smart and be conscientious of how you take down your investments. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll try to take interest rates to 1%. I have no idea, but I hope they come down to at least a mere near 4.5% to 5% to at least allow the economics of commercial real estate to breathe yet once again. For more content just like this and to continue learning how to compound your money and your success in real estate and ground up construction, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. Pound that thumbs up button and comment down below your thoughts on what Trump's proposal to reduce interest rates down to 1% and his proposal to give Jerome Powell the boot will do for our overall economy. I'd love to hear your thoughts and criticism on this topic down below in the comment section. Until next time, click and subscribe, pound that thumbs up button, and we'll see you on the other side.